No, we've been live now for 4 seconds. Anyway, I wanted to jump on here real quick. Just apologize. We weren't able to get on last week. I had some stuff going on here at the house. Didn't have internet connection again for a couple of days. I had it on and off. Actually, the pool saga continues. So that was the reason why we didn't do that. Today we almost didn't do it. I had an emergency here with Brody, emergency surgery on Wednesday, was it now? And then he actually got home yesterday, a day early. Really shouldn't have been home, I guess, from now what I'm gathering. Last night was a rough night, to be honest with you. Got about 2 hours sleep. So we're here right now today to talk about some stuff that's going on in Amazon, but Brody's recovering and he's heavily medicated right now.
It has not deterred him from barking at the door, though. I heard that.
Yeah, but immediately after that, Chris, then he went downhill again. He was like, I was like in pain and shaking.
It was all in that one episode. He
took all of
his energy.
His energy. It exhausted him.
That's the question. Did he get the guy?
I wish I could ask him that. He doesn't speak, or else I would have known he had a ruptured disc in the back, or in the neck. So anyway, yeah. So pretty scary week, honestly. But he's doing well. So hopefully we're good. And I got a wedding to go to in New York tomorrow. I'm supposed to leave. So we'll see if that's going to happen for me. I might be sending my wife and my daughter there by themselves, but we're going to see how he does through the night. But anyway, not everyone wants to hear about the Brody saga or the details on that, but that's what's happening. Let's dig in a little bit, Chris, and maybe you can kind of highlight some of the things we want to talk about. One thing I do want to talk about real quick, Dom's going to be interested in this one. This is an update from my daughter, Alexis, who really started retail arbing because of Dom and talking about, like, how to do a little something on the side, doesn't want to really do private label 100%, wants to just kind of dabble. Well, actually, let me back up. They were trying to get ungated for some other categories, and they couldn't. And we've heard about this before too, Dom, and you've said it. Sometimes there's thresholds. Sometimes there's how old your account is, whatever, right? There's some certain things in order to open up those categories. And until you get to that threshold, you won't be able to sell in these categories. So they've been wanting to sell into like beauty, maybe some like cosmetic products, and then maybe even in grocery, and just couldn't get ungated. Even in baby, I think that they couldn't get ungated. So I guess I just kind of told them, just kind of hang in there and just, keep pushing the stuff that you're doing. And she's actually, their numbers have been up this past like week and a half. She's like, man, it feels like fourth quarter. Numbers are starting to go up. So she's out there. So they actually moved to a whole nother city. So now they're in Seattle. So it's a whole new ground for her to kind of go out there and find out where the products are and stuff. Long story short, she called me today and said they hit the $20,000 mark in revenue. And once that happened, they went in and started to act as though they were going to sell in these other categories. They got ungated immediately. So it was a $20,000 mark. So I don't know if it was a $20,000 mark or maybe it just happened to be a certain age of the account, but it seemed like as soon as it hit 20,000, it hit. Do you know anything on this, Dom? Is there any fact to that?
Yeah, no, I don't know exactly, but that's probably it. I would think that it might be a combination of both. I know that they do have a threshold sell through before they graduate you through, but I bet you it's more of a timeline. I'm going to say It's more of a basically, you show them customer service, your feedback's 100%, you haven't had a high return rate within, let's say, 6 months?
Yep.
That's probably when they started. So that's probably about right. Mm-hmm. So, and the good thing is they're obviously allowed to sell in toys and games and stuff like that, which probably help them out. So, yeah, it could be a combination of both. Again, I know for sure that Amazon, when you first start, they do have a threshold. I always suggest to people don't sell over $1,000 a month the first month, just because they want to make sure that you got your customer service. Because a lot of these guys come on, and again, because of authentic stuff, fake purses and iPhones and stuff, and then they sell 20 in one day, and then their account gets blocked because they know you shouldn't be able to. That was in the old days before those things were gated. So yeah, that's good. Congratulations for them. I'm very happy for them, especially with that ribbon. I mean, it's really part-time, not part-time. I'm working 40 hours and then 20 hours of this. It's like, it's part with a move. You have to, the 3 R's, you got to change it all, right? They had to change everything basically, right? So
no, and she really didn't do much during the move. I mean, they've been kind of settling in now they went and they moved in with his mother for like, I think 3 weeks while their housing was getting situated, because he's in the military. Anyone that knows or that doesn't know, my daughter, my oldest daughter, 22, she just got married, and she's married to a nice guy that's actually in the military. Oh, there's the doggy. There's the four-legged friend. Nice. So it's been a little bit of a down where they haven't really done a lot of shopping, a lot of going out there and collecting more product and kind of just letting it sit there, and it's kind of just been selling on its own. So it's been kind of nice. They put the work in up front, and they've made some pretty good margins on that 20 grand so far, so which is pretty exciting. So now the cool thing is their account's getting seasoned, and now they're actually ungated in some of these categories that they've been wanting to get into. The other question, Dom, that she had for me this morning, and I'll tell you what I told her, but I want to hear your advice, is what do you feel about items that are that have an expiration date on them? Is there a timeline that you would say, don't sell that because it's only got a 3-month window or a 6-month window or a year window? And that could be just on like cosmetic stuff, right? There's stuff on there that it says, well, if you don't use the cream within 12 months, it's expired. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we try not to do any dated stuff, but we have done lots of cosmetics in the past. Some of the cosmetics have dates on them. To be honest, there's actually websites and stuff that you could check the batch number, and it'll actually tell you when it was produced and how old it is. So even if you try to pass it off and the person's savvy that's buying off you, if you say, a lot of people try to say it's fresh, it's clean, unopened, it's not expired, and they put the batch, they'll ask you for the batch number, and if you give it to them, or they can check it up. And we even do that before we buy, because we're buying lots of it. In the cosmetic stuff, I wouldn't be too worried about it, because it's best before, or that time. If you were buying for the grocery, like if you're on gating grocery, I would stay away
jerky,
from that.
Let's say if it was beef jerky.
Yeah, right? I mean, there's so many other things you can sell, but if it's a good turnaround, and you're going to move through it right away, I wouldn't worry about it. But again, if you're sending canned foods or stuff like that, I would steer away. But for cosmetics, I would take a chance for sure, because there's huge margins in it and it sells pretty well. Again, a lot of those categories or those brands are gated anyways, Lancome and all the higher end, MAC Cosmetics and all that stuff. So if you can get it. But I mean, again, I don't know exactly what products are, but if there's margins, if she can buy them for $5 and they sell for $30, I would take it for sure. And
again, I'll give you and everyone else that's watching kind of like my advice here, and anyone that's just tuning in. We're just talking about a little bit of retail arb. It was just like a topic that came up because my daughter, she actually messaged me, and then I talked to her this morning about retail arb. That's what she's been doing now for the past 6 months, month-ish. Yeah, that's kind of hard to say. And kind of really super part-time, like maybe an hour a week. And they just hit the 20,000 mark, and they've been ungated now in some of these categories that they've been wanting to sell in. And what I told her about the stuff that can expire, I told her, number one, like you said, the margins need to be there. Like I wouldn't be dabbling with a $3, you make a $3 profit. Like it's not worth it. Number two, you got to know that stuff's going to sell through within the first probably 30 to 60 days. That's my thing. And I think on a lot of products, you want it to go through in 30 to 60 days. So regardless, you don't want to buy something that's going to expire in a month, right? So I told her I would stay away from it unless the margins are good, really, really good. And then also if it expires 6 months to a year. And then that way there you can at least give yourself a little bit of a runway to do that.
And a big thing too, Scott, is it's the brand too. Really important when you're cosmetics is the brand, because there's so many brands out there, and obviously the top 4 or 5 is what everyone wants, and then that's the B's and the C's. Once you start getting into the C and D stuff, like the Target low end brands or the Walmart low end brands, it's not even worth buying really, because people just don't want again, there's a high end MAC stuff, and then Lancome, and then like the L'Oreal and Revlon and all that. Those are the big brands that people will buy, right? Maybelline and anything else after that, you're just wasting your money, even if you have margins on it, because it's probably going to sit most likely.
Okay, cool. And while we're talking about that, I didn't even plan this, but this is a great place to say, if you guys are interested in doing some retail arbitrage, Dom actually has a course that we created together called 1K Fast Track. So go check that out if you guys are interested, 1kfasttrack.com. And you can go check that out. And there's, oh gosh, hundreds of students in there now that have been doing retail ARB. And then a lot of them are graduating now to private labeling. It's a great stepping stone to get into private labeling or just adding another income stream to your business. So 1kfasttrack.com, go check it out if you're interested. All right, Chris, now that I kind of derailed where we were supposed to be going, where are we going? What do you want to talk about? I know you had some stuff about pricing and you had stuff about our little email list that we built rapidly here in the past few days, which is pretty exciting. Look, you're chomping at the bit. You just can't wait to talk about that.
So the first thing was, Scott, we've talked on this show in the past about having like 3 different prices, right? Having your list price, your normal selling price, and your MSRP. Yep. So it's list, MSRP, and sales, I think is what they were in the past. Amazon's actually getting rid of that. They're consolidating the sales price to make that the price that displays. So you're going to just have, dog is going crazy. You're just going to have 2 prices now display on that page, even if you fill everything out. So that was kind of like a big news piece from Amazon. Honestly, I don't think it's going to make a big deal for us at the end of the day. It may impact conversion rates if you guys were doing that in the past. So I wanted to kind of call that out. But I think the big thing, Scott, I wanted to talk about a couple of things related to emails. And the first one is like the way that you and I have been launching products, because I've seen the product launch question coming up again now that we're getting into the 4th quarter. I've seen people asking about services. Yeah. And I wanted to chat through that with you. You know, we've talked the last few weeks about there's 2 kind of different ways that we like for launching products right now. One is the lower price point with heavy PPC, and the other one is the launch list. So, you know, you and I are doing the launch list in the new brand. We've done it for all of the products that we've launched there. We decided we wanted to add to that. So do you want to talk a little bit about what that process looks like, just really fast? And then I'll pick up to the full deal of that for everybody here.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to kind of give everyone the backstory, like we are in the process of building a brand. We're just about 6 months in. We just got over the 6-figure mark, so we just hit over, I think it was 111 or 112,000 in revenue, and actually a lot of that revenue came in the past 3 months, which is pretty exciting. We have an email list right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. Around 11,000 ish, and what we said was, number one, we want to build that to about a 20,000 person email list by 4th quarter, okay, or during 4th quarter. So at the end of 4th quarter, we'll have this list that is a huge asset to us. We'll also wanted to build our Facebook page, which is right around 8,000 or 9,000. That we want to build up to about the same, about 20 to 30,000 by the 1st of the year. So these are some goals that we wanted to set for ourselves. But what we also want to do is, while this list is kind of like hot and warm in a sense, we are going to then launch a couple of our new SKUs that are going to be launching just before 4th quarter. So a way to do that is we wanted to create this amazing bundle, and then we wanted to go ahead and run this contest giveaway as we've talked about before. I'll go ahead and put that resource in here too as well, Chris. I know that some people may be joining us for the first time. The list building workshop that we did, totally free, which walks you through exactly what we do, theamazingseller.com/build list. And you can see exactly how that's done. And really, we're following it to a T. We're doing exactly what we're talking about and what we teach inside of that. And Chris had just fired up a Facebook ad. We didn't use Instagram at all yet. We may not even have to because the numbers are crazy.
We may not want to.
Yeah, so we're running Facebook ads right now. And the last that I checked, Chris, I think you said we were at about 800 to 900 emails in about 3 days, something like that.
Now, we had 4 people unsubscribe from an email today, which puts us, as of right now, hang on, let me refresh it. But when we jumped on here, we were at exactly 900.
Okay.
Which is what I predict. 902.
902 now. Okay.
So since we've gotten on here, we've gotten 2 additional emails, right? And it's one of those things where, you know, we started off with like 400 and I was like, that's not going to be sustainable, but we've gotten about 300 a day on average. And quite honestly, it's really 2.5 days, right? Is how long we've been running that. And we could stop right now and have a decent launch list, but we have 27 days left in the giveaway where we're going to just keep doing exactly what we're doing. And it's not that difficult. And that workshop, guys, is going to walk you through each and every step that you need to go through. And it's going to show you a case study of exactly what we're doing. Now, we are doing this a little bit more on steroids. You know, right now, Scott, we're spending $40 a day on Facebook ads versus the 20 that we kind of talk about there as a good ballpark number. But that's because we're testing a couple different things. We're doing some things just to test some different audiences because we know what's worked well in the past. We're testing some of our assumptions, right? If you're just starting out, that $10 to $20 a day would make a lot of sense. But as of right now, Scott, we have spent, let me see. So we started running this, what, Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday it was. That's when we had everything finalized.
So
and just
we spent $103 to acquire 902 emails.
And so what's that per email? Do some quick math here on the fly.
11 cents.
11 cents. So in our minds, we're willing to spend up to $1 per email. And usually when you start, just like your pay-per-click in sponsored product ads, you usually start and your bids are a little bit higher and your maybe cost per click is a little bit higher. And then as you start to kind of tweak it, they start to bring it down. It's very similar to this, but we're at 11 cents right out of the gate, which is insane. And it's really everything that we've done in the past. The cool thing is when we first did our giveaway, we didn't have our product yet. We were bundling everyone else's products that were a product that could be related to our product. Now the cool thing is there's only one product in there that's not ours out of about 5 additional products. So that bundle is really everything that we sell, which is pretty cool because now on the back end of that, oh, sorry you didn't win, to, however many people don't win, there's going to be one winner. And then you say, but we're going to run a special 25% off sale through this weekend because, you guys took the time to enter. And we want to say, thank you. You guys are awesome. Right. And then we have a whole bunch of other promotional stuff that these people are going to be getting in the future. We have a whole bunch of content they're going to be getting. Like they're going to start getting, kind of getting like our content on a regular basis now. And when we start getting into the holidays, that's going to give us an extra boost. And I'm really excited to see what the numbers are and also to see what the open rate is and stuff like that as we move forward. But again, this isn't rocket science. This is pretty basic stuff. And it just takes setting up the components. And Chris, I know you want to say something, but before you do, I just want to kind of really just outline this really quickly. Traffic, that's what we need, right? We need to find the traffic of people that are interested in our product, okay? Number 2, we need an offer. The offer needs to be good and targeted to our potential customer. And then we need a way to capture those emails. Like that's all we need. 3 pieces, 3 chunks. Once we build this thing, we go find the traffic and we keep directing it back to what they call a funnel, but it's like a little mini funnel in a sense because we're just driving people to our offer, which gets them to want to enter and want to share. And then we have a way for them to enter their name and email and it gets put on our list. And then we get to communicate with these people over and over again. And the one thing I want to also mention is the difference here than just doing hey, who wants to win a free iPhone? The difference is everyone is going to want an iPhone because they can just give it away as a gift to someone, right? It's not our target market. We need to get a lot more laser focused. So again, if we're going after the fishing market, maybe we're going to go after the bass fisherman or the fly fisherman. We're going to create a bundle around a fly fisherman, everything around that, right? And then those people are going to be raising their hand and they're more likely to be our ideal client. So Chris, what you got?
The reason I wanted to talk about this today, Scott, is because we got some questions in the PLC, the TAS Breakthrough Review group. And I saw a couple people asking in the Amazing Seller group this week some similar questions. So I wanted to discuss a couple things with you. The first one is like, okay, so giveaways, right? Aren't we just going to attract people that want freebies? Like, is there a better way to do this?
Right.
And yes, you're going to get some of those people.
Sure.
And the way that this got brought up in the TAS Breakthrough You group this week was like, I have a lot of people unsubscribe the first few times I send an email, and then it kind of takes down.
That's good.
Bad and good, right?
Right.
We don't want to see lots of people unsubscribe, but in the beginning, we know with a giveaway that's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
So what kind of came out of that was, well, one, yes, you are going to get some of those freebie seekers, so get them off the list, right? Just don't worry about that. But the second half of that question, Scott, and it's something that we've actually been testing in the background, but we haven't talked about it, is like, is there a better way than giveaways to get more targeted emails so that we don't have that issue? And the answer is yes, you can do some of those kinds of things. But the reason that you and I talk about using a targeted giveaway versus using some of those other things is, one, you don't have to create anything other than the landing page for a giveaway. And 2, you get more emails for less money. right? And while we might see a 2 or 3 times increase in the number of people who unsubscribe, we see a 10 or 15 times increase in the number of people who come in and emails. And I wanted to share some of the numbers. You know that we've been running that ad in the background, a very targeted ad with a different capture, right? So the giveaway is a type of capture, guys. It's the offer that we're showing to people. We've also been testing the same audience with a little bit of a different offer that they responded really, really well.
But just to give people an example, that offer could be if we were going to give away a bass fisherman's guide, right? That would be the offer, right? So instead of giving away like free merchandise, we're saying like, do you want these 10 killer tips to catch more bass this weekend? And then people would go and opt in, give their email address to download that. So we know that there are market. That's really what Chris is saying there. It's that's the offer instead of it being a physical product. It's like a digital download type offer.
So you and I talked about doing a couple of these different things, and we have an offer on that side that is really killer. But I wanted to share some of the numbers from that, Scott. And you and I were super happy with this, and this number is coming down. But overall, that Bass Fisherman's Guide has generated 75 leads at 56 cents a lead. Right? Now we just said the giveaway did 900 leads at 11 cents a lead. Right? So yes, those people who are coming in on the guide are a little bit more targeted, and they're opening our emails at like 60% right now. The other people are opening it at 20 or 30%. But I 5x'd.
Yeah.
More than 6x, 7x. I don't know. I can't do that math. What's 900 divided by 75?
Oh, come on now.
I 12x'd the same number of leads for only $30 more, right? Just looking at that.
Yeah.
So even if they open it at half and they unsubscribe double the amount,
right,
we're still better off with that total number of emails because we're still reaching the same targeted number of people. And the reason for that is because people are willing to share the giveaway stuff with their friends who are also interested in the same thing. At least that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah.
People aren't necessarily as willing to share, 20 bass fishing tips or, something like that, to 10 days or 10 ways to make your boat better. Like, they're not necessarily going to share that the same way that they are if they know they're going to get something out of it. Right. With the giveaways, they get extra entries and extra chances to win, and they get to give their friends some value. Right. On the other side of it, while they might be more qualified, quote unquote, and we have to do less work to turn them into a sale, you're not going to get the same return in terms of the total number of people. Does that make sense? Guys, if you're following along with us, let me know if that makes sense. And that's one of the things that you and I have been kind of playing with in the background to make sure that we were doing things the way that was the easiest for people. It's a lot easier to build a giveaway, and it turns out that it's significantly less time, less money, and a much better ROI, at least up front, to do the giveaway stuff. The other stuff is great for the long term, but it's not something that everybody is going to be able to do.
And another thing that you can do here, because then some people would say like, well, yeah, you're giving like 10 workouts, right? Or something like that. Like, okay, cool. But how can you then wrap it around a product? Well, one way is, let's say that we were selling in the fishing market and we had like 7 of the top lures to catch bass that pro fishermen are using, right? And then you give them that guide and you happen to sell those 7 lures, right? Now people would come in and go, oh, cool, I want to buy those 7. Well, here's a pack. You can buy a 7-pack for $29.95, right? That's how that would work. So just to kind of give people a little bit more context to how it would actually work when you're tying it back to a product. So anyway, if you guys are getting it, put in the comments that you're getting it. If you have any questions, put it in there. I did want to remind everyone, I should have did this in the beginning. If you guys could do us a quick favor, like this, share it, send a little Facebook love. That would be amazing. And let us know that you guys want us to keep back and doing this. Keep coming back to do this stuff. Wow, I cannot talk today, Chris. Maybe it's because I only had 2 hours sleep. Maybe that could be it.
Play a role.
I mean, I'm literally on about 2 hours sleep right now, so I don't feel that bad right now. And the Yankees are on tonight, by the way. I forgot to mention that. The Yankees have advanced. Do you guys realize that? They were supposed to be done and out. Man, I'm excited about that. Anyway, carry on, please. Dom, what do you think about that? The Yankees moving on, brother. Come on, let's talk about that for a minute.
Not very happy.
Well, come on. Sure. Montreal Expos aren't in it anymore. Come on.
Yeah, they got eliminated yesterday. I get sure they're going to do a good job. But, you know what? I'll be excited when we go to a game if you come up to the wedding this weekend. I'll meet you in New York.
Yeah, we'd have to get him scalped or something, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're looking a couple of G's, no problem each.
Couple G's, oh yeah. All right, let's move.
No, I'm happy for you guys. I mean, you guys. Wow, it wasn't supposed to be their year, but
it's supposed to be a rebuilding year.
Yeah, it's good.
But you know what?
The Giants just took all of that.
Oh, come on, man. Don't even talk about the Giants right now. I'm still a fan of the Giants just because I kind of I have to be, right? It's like I've been with them for so long and I'm going to stick with them through the good and the bad. But man, they're having a terrible year. But the Yankees did surprise us. But the one thing I want to say about the Yankees really quickly is their team is a team. It's something I haven't seen since probably around 98. When it was with Jeter and Posada and all those guys, Jorge, when Jeter was coming up with all those guys. So it's something I haven't seen in a while, and I'm really liking it. And they really went to bat for Girardi, who got booed because of that call that he should have, Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and talk sports, but I'm really excited about their team. They got a lot of young players in there right now that I think are going to be core players moving on up through the ranks. It'll be fun to watch. My daughter has the Aaron Judge shirt that she's wearing to school now, and she's a diehard fan. So it's kind of like he's the Jeter of today for the young kids, which I think is pretty cool. He's just a lot bigger. 6'7", 280, 90 pounds, something like that. He's a beast.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, but he hasn't really performed in the postseason yet. He struck out so much. He hasn't, but he's going to. But he's just struck out so much. But everyone else is contributing. But anyway, let's move on. Yankees, let's go, baby. Tonight they start the series. All right, let's dig in. What do you got, Chris?
Renfrew wanted to know, about your email list. What's your average open rate? And the answer here is it depends. If we're just kind of a generic blast, it's been between 18 and 20%.
Which is good.
Which is, not the highest that we have, but it's pretty good. The other side of that is we have some sequences that we're running people through. And in those sequences, it's between 38 and 48% with as high as a 15% click-through rate.
Which is insane.
Which is nuts. Like the average click-through rate that I've seen in emails is right around 2 to 3%. Is that probably a fair assessment, Scott?
Absolutely.
2 to 3%. So the people who are getting our content, and all we're doing is exactly what we teach in that workshop.
Mm-hmm.
They're opening it between 38 and 40%, and they're
crazy
on it between 8 and 16%, which is just nuts. And that's
bonkers.
Really, really cool. Ali wanted to know, quick question, guys. If I get a product review on seller feedback, can I get rid of it if it's a low 1 star? Yes, if you have a review on the product inside of seller feedback, they will remove that because that's a place for feedback on the seller and not on the product itself. Megan wanted to know, hey guys, I'm working on a shipment and I think I saw a new requirement for something that needs to be added. Shipping weight, maybe? I can't find anything in Seller Central, so I might be crazy. Does this ring a bell? Yeah, Megan, what you're talking about there is the product weight. You have to have a weight itself for the product. It doesn't have to be added to the shipment. I don't think you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it needs to be added to the listing. You previously didn't need to do that. Amazon is asking that you add the individual unit weight to the listing now. As of, I think tomorrow is when that requirement kicks in. I'll dig in. Oh, it was the second. Product package weight requirements as of October 2nd is the headline inside of Amazon. So if you don't have that there, you do need to include how much your thing actually weighs, which is smart to do anyway. I would also include the dimensions if you guys are not already doing that, because if you don't, Amazon actually measures the product, and that's how they assess your storage fees and your fulfillment fees. And if they're wrong, it can cost you money until you catch it. So measure it yourself, put those measurements in, and then go from there.
Hey, before we jump into another question really quickly, I've got a question I want to ask Dom. Dom's been through some fourth quarters in his time. He's a veteran here. In that, looks like he's wearing a jumpsuit today, but he's wearing actually like a sports, hockey shirt,
Hockey
Dom?
jersey.
Looks like you're in like if I was to see you like standing right now, I think you're in like a basketball jumpsuit, like a velvety one. It looks like one of the ones that maybe Jordan would have worn the day. That's cool, man. That's cool. All right. So let me ask you about
dress combos.
Let me ask you about fourth quarter really quickly. And I get this question a lot. When do you see an uptick in sales generally start to show themselves?
I got someone knocking on my door here. That's awesome.
Tell them to go away. Liquidations are over. We're not doing them today.
man, that's hilarious. Well, traditionally, it happens. Everyone says that it's what is it? Black Friday or whatever that is in your country, right? That day. I already found it. It's already starting to sell a little bit, depending what market you're in. Depending what categories you're in. So, truly, you won't see it till November 1st for sure. Okay. Like you got a few more weeks. I find it picks up a little bit though, and it's September after back to school's done. Everyone's gets ready. They start picking up, but the panic really doesn't stop till till November, and then obviously all of November, December. Okay. That's when it goes crazy. But yeah, the panic. Yeah.
The frenzy. The buying
frenzy. Yeah, I mean, we don't have Black Friday. Our Black Friday, we kind of call it Boxing Day, which is after Christmas. The day after Christmas, we liquidate all our stuff. Where you guys have all these sales before Christmas, was I don't get why you have that, because people are going to buy regardless. They're going to pay $1,000 for a TV or $500 for an Xbox One or $400. Why do you need to put all that stuff on sale? But I get so what's happened is over the last 10 years, Canada's actually adapted to that. So we actually have Black Friday now, and then Cyber Monday, right? Cyber Monday, I think, is actually the day that stuff really starts taking off. So, yeah, be ready for that. And after that, it's just good luck if you run out of stuff to get it back in after that into Amazon. That's for sure.
Okay. It's I just wanted your take on that. I get a lot of questions, and I agree. I think it does depend on what market you're in. I mean, you can see an uptick sooner, but I know my wife's already started buying a few things here and there. With Christmas in mind. So I know that there's already people like her that are like, I want to get this done and kind of out of the way. I don't want to have to be scrambling last minute, and start to slowly do that. But then I think at the last minute, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I forgot Aunt Susie. I got to get on there and I got to buy something. And then boom, you get on there and you're driven to go buy something. So for retail ARB, we've already noticed it a little bit. So I always notice at this time of the year, probably another week from now, all the better stuff kind of goes. So because we do a lot of video games and toys and stuff, so like now all the Shopkin stuff is starting to sell, all the Mario games, you know what I'm saying? Like people are starting to buy the $100 games, the $50 toys, and so that because they know that when they go back in a month, it'll pretty well all be gone. Or this is what happens, because I think people especially on a secondary market, if you guys are selling on a secondary market, like used games or even new games, it's going to be like last week I showed you the Super NES Classic, came out for $100 retail. People are selling them right now for $180. So you're paying about $80 over retail. If you wait, they're going to be $180. They're going to be $250, $275, and then 2 weeks before Christmas, you'll be paying $350 if you want it. So
they're going to be more than the new Wii.
Yeah.
The Switch, the Nintendo Switch.
The Switch, exactly, pretty well. So that's the dilemma you get into. And I think people realize that, especially with consumer electronics, hot consumer electronics, gaming, toy-related type stuff. As far as private label is, if you got a bath mat, there's not going to be you're not going to see any change really until, and maybe even till December 1st. But if you have something that's kind of coolish, electronic-y, and trend stuff, you guys will notice for sure, definitely, in your new brand, you'll be like, okay, people are prepping up because it's an accessory for parts and stuff like that. So, and we get that also as well. And some of our brands, we're like, okay, what's going on here?
Cool. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. I know fourth quarter is a big topic right now, and people are wondering what to do to get prepared and all that stuff. And some people are out of inventory. I feel your pain. We just got inventory back. Actually, Chris, I didn't even realize, but we had another SKU that we ran out of, and we just got that back. We got, I think, 200 en route going in, or as Don would say, en route. That we have a couple hundred that are being sent in as we speak. But that one there ran out of stock, and that one was doing 10 to 12 a day at above kind of like the price that's kind of like the going price out there. So
the semi-seasonal one?
Yeah. I think
we assumed would be seasonal based on the traffic and has not.
Yeah, I still think that one's going to do. I still think that one has potential to do 10 to 12 consistently. I think we've had some already days that have done 20 to 30, and that one there I think could do well. I think we got 1,500 units in stock on that one too. Actually, we had to get another warehouse temporarily.
Next question. We have 200 in, but we have more.
Yeah, we have 1,300 more in the warehouse. Yeah. Yep. So
That's
Anyway,
something else that we should talk about. So you had a little bit of an adventure at our little storage center this week.
yeah, I did.
To account for that Q4 inventory that we ordered, because we've been talking about like, let's over order for Q4, and the worst thing that's going to happen is we're going to have a little bit extra and maybe delay our order in January. But I know you had a little bit of fun with that this week.
Yeah, we did. We have a pretty decent size. I mean, it's not huge. I think it's a 10 by 10, and I think we pay about $110 a month or something like that. But it's tall. I mean, you can stack stuff really kind of tall. So I went over with my partner and we started organizing it a little bit. And I started stacking some stuff because we had those 1,500 units coming in, and we've got another 3,000 units of something else coming in. So we're like, man, we ain't gonna have any room. So we went to the people in charge. They're really nice people too. And they go, you know what we'll do? We'll give you a double size bay for the same price that you're paying there for a month. We'll give you 30 days at a month. So basically for $200, we've got like a 20 by 20 and a 10 by 10, and it's a brand new facility, all temperature controlled. It's all single floor. It's just nice. So anyway, that's what we did. But I said to my partner, I go, we don't want this much inventory sitting in here. Like we're going to figure this out so we have less and we can use just the 10 or the 12 by 12. And that'll just be our overlap. Cause they were funny. They were like, well, this is a really good deal. For $200, we get like a 2-car garage. I'm like, we don't want this much inventory in stock. Okay. We want it in Amazon and we want to sell through that stock. Yeah. So, and anyone else that's kind of like listening and you're thinking to yourself, like, I don't want to put all this stuff in my house. I don't have it in my garage. You can just go to a storage facility and they'll actually accept your orders. Like we have UPS or DHL deliver it straight to the door of our warehouse, and they'll get the key, open it up, put a pallet in there. We come and we go ahead and unpack it. So it works really, really well.
We should tell Bill Strutwell's wife that, because I'm sure she doesn't like her garage full of 10,000 units all the time. Can't even get to their garage anymore. Apparently, Bill was telling me. So Bill, if you're listening, get a storage unit.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Hey, I know. For $150, you can probably get all that stuff out of your garage and literally pull your car in.
And your wife will thank you. So it's probably worth $150. It's better than flowers.
It's so bad. Now his neighbor's saying, hey, I'm only using half of my garage if you want to rent my other half of it. Bill's contemplating it. I said, just get a unit. They're not that expensive. And you don't even need a temperature client, right? And there, where he is, it's nice and warm all the time. You just need a little bit of AC.
But it might get
Oh, yeah. You're right, yeah.
He said, hey, it's hot here.
Yeah, Bill says, hey, it's hot here. It is. No, he wants air conditioning for sure. He wants
Bill, tell your neighbor you're not interested in his deal.
So anyway, it's a simple solution. Go check it out. Yeah, that's what we had, but it was good.
I think Scott, you hit on something with the partner there that I think is interesting. We often talk about how inventory planning is the most complicated thing, and you have to have enough to get you through, but you don't want to have too much. And so if you filled that second one, you have to look at each and every single one of those units as dollars, right? That are on fire. It's not just dollars, it's dollars that are on fire. Yeah. And the faster you can get them out of that warehouse, the more of them you can save, right? And if you're sitting on them, you're not doing anything with it. It's just money that's sitting there burning. And you have to kind of strike that balance.
Let's talk about that really quickly then. So why don't you touch on what is the cycle that you would like to be turning that inventory? Obviously 30 days would be amazing, right? But when does it start to cost you more to have it stored, whether it's in Amazon or whether it's in your own facility?
I think that's going to depend on where your price breaks are too. And that's one of these reasons why it's such a complex thing, right? If we order 3,000 units, let's say we're selling, 500 units of something a month, right?
Yep.
And we order 3,000 units, but it cuts our cost 30%, then it makes sense to order 3,000 and sit on them. If it only brings it down a few cents, it probably doesn't, because it's going to be 6 months till we get through that shipment, and we're going to be paying $600 or $700. Does that make sense? So it does. Strike that balance. You have to do that mental math and say, okay, my storage facility is going to cost me $600 over the next 6 months. I'm selling X. And to do that, here's where the price break would need to be. And if you're going to make out on it, then do it. If not, then don't. And, you know, we over ordered because we were more worried about running out than we were about potentially spending, you know, $100 or $200 extra in terms of storage for our stuff, because we ran out of one of the products that's going to be a huge seller in Q4 in August.
Right.
I think it was. And it cost us $24,000 in sales.
Yeah.
So we know it's going to 2 or 3x at least throughout Q4, which means that's $60,000 in sales, $75,000 in sales. We don't want to lose that money. And so it's worth it to us to pay. Basically, Scott, we're paying a couple $100 for insurance.
Basically.
Right. That we're not going to run out of stock. But if you're in a place where you're trying to carefully balance that, the easy math, and I wouldn't even do it with Amazon storage fees. I would do it just with the storage center, because that's a fixed cost. Right. We know Amazon is going to cost us more in Q4 than it is the rest of the year, but your storage fees for like a storage facility are probably going to be the same 12 months out of the year. So you can say it's going to be $300, $500. Am I saving at least that by ordering something this size? Does that make sense?
It does. The one thing I want you to touch on, though, is fourth quarter has different storage fees. So,
and that's why I said calculate it based on the storage center and how we would do that.
Exactly.
Now, the fourth quarter storage fees are significantly higher inside of Amazon. So if you're not going to run a storage center and keep some inventory on hand, you have to look at what the storage fees are going to be over the next 3 months.
Exactly.
And do that same calculation. So you just need to know the cubic size, right? So how many units you're going to have, how much space that's going to take up in the Amazon warehouse if you don't sell through it each and every month. And that math becomes a little bit more complex. It's pretty easy to do in a spreadsheet. You can just grab the storage fees and calculate that out based on your based on how much space that inventory is going to take up.
Yep.
Ali says, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm waiting for another 650 pieces in the next 2 weeks. 240 pieces are arriving on Monday. I'm waiting for my inventory to arrive at my place, and I'm going to ship it to Amazon on the same exact day.
So, I mean, the Amazon cycle versus like a traditional retail cycle is going to differ. Usually in retail, it's 30 to 60 days, and that's what you kind of want. But, you know, most retailers have millions of SKUs, thousands, hundreds of thousands of SKUs. So if they sell out of one, they really don't lack any lot. They will lose sales, but they could rely on other stuff. The problem is when you're first starting sell through, you don't know your first year, and even your second year, sometimes you don't know. You're like, okay, I'm going to order a little bit, maybe order too much the first year. Okay, the next year I'm going to order just enough. And I don't think you ever get perfect. As you scale, it gets really tough. And most big companies or mid-sized companies, they have people in place for that, right? That's all they figure out. They'll just say, okay, I'm going to do all the inventory. I'm going to do the cycle. So we're in a position where, I mean, I kind of have that in place a little bit, but not. I would say we have a professional inventory, engagement or staff sitting there and watching everything. We kind of put together a rough thing of what we kind of need, but we always, I mean, I hate it. It runs out of inventory, and that's the worst thing with Amazon because you have to rebuild everything. So I would always say if you could afford to do it, I would always overbuy than underbuy, because the biggest thing is you never run around inventory, especially at Q4. Again, what happens, some people get gun shy because they ordered 4,000 units and they only sold 1,000. They're like, okay, I never want to do this again. So that's a lesson. But then they have a product that really sells well. Now they're caught. What do I do? Oh my God. Last time I did it, didn't sell through. And then minimum MOQs, right? Overseas. I mean, to be honest, I'm envious with some of the numbers you guys are pulling to tell me, or who the person that just 500 units here, 200, 300. I mean, everything I order has to be 5,000 and over. So I don't know how you guys get away with it, but maybe it's the products that we're selling, and and I'm like, what am I? And I again, it gets even. You have to put another barrier on top of when you're international or not in the U.S. You can't just order it and send it to Canada, and then I have to ship it back and pay all the taxes. I have to ship it to a freight forwarder. If I want to ship it directly to Amazon, it's difficult. So there's a lot of barriers of entry as you keep adding to it. Like, I mean, eventually what's going to happen, I'm going to buy a house close to one of you guys. I know you don't want that to happen, but it's going to happen. And I'm going to have a big garage back there, and I'm just going to go down there for a week every month, and I'm just going to process everything. And so I'm just going to ship it to my house, and I'm just going to store it there or something, right?
That'll be a tax write-off too, because now it's a place of storage, right?
So, I mean, it's really difficult, and I think that's probably the second biggest thing you get after, I mean, I lump everything product, doing PPC and all that, is keeping your inventory up, because I've seen, even myself, it's been difficult. and I always say, if you're out of inventory for 3 months, it's going to take you 3 months to get back in. I mean, we were discussing that last week. Finally, this week, 2 of my ASINs that we're talking, remember I said, should I keep buying more product or should I discontinue because I'm paying? We're finally on page 1 again now.
Wow.
Finally, after spending lots of PPC, we finally got to, we're at the bottom, but at least we're there from page 3 from 2 weeks ago. So it does work, but we're putting more money out of it than I think we'll ever make out of that product now. So what do you do now? But anyways, that's my tidbit on it. It's always, again, I always have a cycle. Once my factories or my production, again, we have a sourcing agent in China, 2 of them, and they have everything under control. So they have access to my Amazon account. So they know right away, as soon as we get to 500 units or 800 units, that they order it right away. And that's how we try to keep it. But it's not always perfect.
Sure. On as far as like the minimum orders and stuff. Yeah. I don't know if we've just gotten lucky, but for the most part, I mean, we've had orders as low as 250, but for the most case, it's got to be like a minimum of 500. And sometimes it might be a minimum of 500, but it's, if you're going to order 2 SKUs, each SKU has to be 500. So it would be 1,000 units. And I get people that say, well, Scott, when do you, actually we had this question last night on the workshop, when can you brand it, or when should I brand it? Should I just do a small test order and not brand it and then brand it later? You can, but you can brand an order of 250 or 500 units. They may say to you, you've got to print 1,000 boxes or 1,000 packages, but then you just tell them, I'll print the packages, you just shelf them there, and then you just use it on the 250 or the 300 or the 500 that you're allowing me to produce as far as the product goes, ship me those. And then from there, we can go ahead and get those going. Now, the other thing is, I mean, you can actually have your sample have your logo on it, even just with 1 unit. You're going to pay more, but you can do it if you want to. So yeah, I mean, we haven't found where we have to get more than 1,000 units. Usually we can do as little as 500, but generally it's between 500 and 1,000. And we're still sourcing products that are between the $3.50 up to as high as $6.50, somewhere in that range. And the $6.50 one, the only reason why that's that expensive is because we're actually doing that one by air, because we want to get it in a hurry, and we'll be able to save probably about $1.50 to $2, get that down to about $4.50 or $5 once we go by sea. So yeah, there's definitely ways to do it, but I think the big thing is you got to negotiate. And I got to be honest, my partner is like, I don't know, they've got a knack for talking to these people and building relationships with these people where they're literally telling them like part of their life story and stuff. Like they know stuff. My partner knows stuff about them personally and talks to them and almost gives them advice as an American to someone else about, their life and stuff. So I don't know. Relationships are huge in anything that we do. They truly are. But anyway, just wanted to kind of address that because I know we had that question again last night. Chris, is there any quick questions you want to wrap up with? I did want to talk about my 7-hour, 7-day strategy for getting some time.
Let's go ahead. Let's do that, and then we'll wrap it up, Scott.
All right, cool. I wrote an email today. If you guys read it, it was partly about my thing that happened this week with Brody, which thank you everyone also that put in some comments, hoping Brody recovers well and all that stuff. He is doing well. The family's over. That's why if you guys see me looking off to my left, I was looking over there. He's laying down and the family's huddled around him as he's like a little prince that, they're all like taking care of him. But anyway, so he's in his little bed. He's doing well. But I also talked about something that I get asked a lot, and that is, Scott, I got a 9-to-5 job. I've got kids. I've got other responsibilities. How do I build this business? Being someone that is kind of busy. And if you guys have been following me for any amount of time, you guys know that I don't really like the excuse that I don't have time, because I was a guy that was working 60+ hours a week, building, my business on the side, and I was able to do it. And I've done it more than just one time. So I came up with something that I call the 7-hour, 7-day strategy, or the 7-day, 7-hour strategy, however you want to call it. But you guys can kind of see where I'm going with this. I want you guys to think about this for a second. And this is even if you feel like right now you're stressed out, you don't have enough time to do what you want to do. This will help you. Number one, you probably have 1 hour a day that you could do something, okay? And that could be an hour in the morning. It could be an hour at night, okay? Or if you're saying to yourself, well, you know, I just don't have time in general at all. What I want you to do is this exercise right here. I want you to track your day. I want you to write every single thing that you do that entire day. Everything. When you go to Facebook, I want you to track what time you went on Facebook and what time you left Facebook. I want you to see how many times you've been over on YouTube. I want to see how many times you've been listening to a podcast. I want to see how long you've been. You might be thinking that you're productive in all of that stuff. You're really wasting some time for the most part. Because we a lot of times do that stuff to kind of entertain ourselves or take us away from something that we can do because we don't want to do it. All right. So what I want you guys to do is be conscious of that. But I want you to also say, if that's what you're doing, cut that out for an hour during the day. You won't even have to get up early or stay up late. All right. The way to do it though, and this is the 7-day, 7-hour type strategy, take an hour in the morning or an hour at night. Block that out. The first hour, here's what I want you to do. Okay, so let's say that you start this tomorrow. You go, okay, tomorrow at 5 a.m. I'm going to get up before I go to work, or tomorrow's Saturday, so you wouldn't do that. Or maybe you work on Saturdays. Get up at 5 o'clock and give yourself an hour. And I want you to only in that hour spend time figuring out what you're going to do with your other 6 hours for the rest of the week. All right, so if you're in product research, write down what you're going to do, because the one thing that you'll find is when you sit down and you don't have a plan of what you're going to do, you're going to sit down and go, all right, now what? What should I be working on? Right? But if you sit down and you've got a list that you've already kind of created, you can then say, okay, I'm sitting down today, I'm doing product research. That's all I'm doing. You're not sourcing, you're not doing pre-launch, you're not doing any of that stuff. And take these blocks of time and concentrate it and really make the commitment to do it. So for 7 hours a week, that's almost an 8-hour day, you can get a lot done. Now, if you did this for 2 weeks, that's 14 hours that you get to work on your business. So when someone says they don't have time, if that's you, I want you to do exactly what I just gave you. Because I'm telling you right now, you're going to turn around and go, holy crap, I got a ton of stuff done, right? And you're going to feel good about it. And you're going to also get something which is a little side effect to this, and that's something we call momentum. All right, you're going to start to build this momentum. You're going to start to get the wheels going. You're going to start to say, oh, wow, I'm getting some products I think I can do here. Oh, and now next week, you're going to take those 7 hours, you're going to work on sourcing. And then you're going to focus on the sourcing. And then the next week, you're going to work on those 7 hours on maybe doing the pre-launch or building a listing or finding the keywords, right? You're going to do all of this stuff. But what I want you to do is the first hour of every new week, that will be the hour that you actually create the plan for the next 6 hours. All right? So that was my email today a little bit. I had a little nugget in there for everyone. I think that's powerful. I think that's huge. And I know myself, whenever I feel like I'm not being able to focus or I'm not getting things done, I need to take an hour and sit down and map out what I need to do and what I want to do. That way, when I come down or sit down to the computer or wherever I am to do this work, I have a plan and I can execute it. Do not jump in that hour and go for 15 minutes and go, I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to go to Facebook. Don't do that. You will not be back. You will be off into Facebook land somewhere.
That's one of the reasons I love my standing desk.
Me too. I'm always moving.
It forces me to actually pay attention, because as much as I like standing, I would rather not stand. Right. So if I can get my stuff done, that gives me a break to go sit down or to go for a walk or to do something other than stand here and work, which is really cool. Scott, another tool that I wanted to throw out, a pen and paper is great, but I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be honest with myself about what time I got on or off Facebook. So there's a tool out there, and I'm sure you've heard of it, called Rescue Time.
I use it.
You can put it on your Chrome browser. I think you can put it in Safari or Firefox as well. You can put it on your phone. And the free version of it doesn't block websites or do anything like that. It just logs everything that you do. Yeah. And it will give you a heart attack at how much time you spend reading news or reading, scrolling through Facebook at the end of the week. And if you can sit down and look at that and go, man, I spent 9.5 hours on Facebook. Was that all in the TAS group getting value, or was that clicking like on kitty pictures and not adding value, right? Then you can kind of see those analytics and you can go, well, if I took an hour from Facebook, an hour from CNN, an hour from going through email that I don't need to go through right now, that's 3 hours. Where can I find the other 4? So if you guys don't want to write it down, Rescue Time is really, really cool.
It's a great app.
If you want to start going through the implementation, they do have a paid version that does some really cool stuff, like blocks those websites when you're trying to work. stops you if you install the mobile app. Like it'll lock your phone down and do all kinds of stuff for you to help you be more productive if you need that level of assistance. But the free version does all the tracking and will give you all of that data.
Well, it'll kind of be a little bit of a it'll give you a little bit of a wake up call. It'll be able, you'll be able to see it now. You'll be like, wow, YouTube was like this much time, and Facebook was this much time, and my email was this much time, and whatever, so wherever you are. I mean, mine, I work in Photoshop occasionally when I'm working on stuff for my photography stuff, and you'll see that I was in Photoshop for 2.5 hours. Okay, well, I need to know that stuff, but it tells me that. It tells me the apps that I've been in, that I've been active in, and I can relate that back to, I was working on photography stuff, so that was productive. I was over here on Facebook. Yes, you can call that productive for myself, because I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook just liking and sharing just because I want to go out there and just see new stuff. I don't really browse my news feed much. I'm on there generally in our community in TAS, or I'm inside of TAS Breakthrough U, or I'm in any of those types of groups. So that's where my time is. So if I see it on there, then I know I'm pretty much being productive because I'm kind of taking care of those communities. But if you don't have a community that you're taking care of and you're spending 6 hours on Facebook, you need to cut a little bit of that out.
Especially if it's 6 hours a day.
Oh gosh. Yes.
And my rescue time gave me a little bit of a heart attack when I first installed that, and Facebook was a big portion of that, but I spend a lot of time in the TAS community, and I spend a lot of time inside Facebook ads and those kinds of things, but there's still time in there that I can cut down. But
sure,
seeing those numbers is what's going to give you the wake up call. And if it's not on your phone, it's not on your computer. How many TV shows are you watching right now? Like all TV just kicked off. Do you really need to watch the next Orville on Thursday night, or should you be spending that time working on your business? Right? Like, these are the kinds of things that we need to take into consideration. Ruben says, mine is going to be like a real Black Mirror, which is never a good thing. Ali said, this is exactly what I did 10 months ago, along with my intense university studies, and I'm loving the results. So if somebody has a crazy university schedule and can do this, you can absolutely do it with one of those 9 to 5s, which, let's be honest, are really more like 7 to 6s, not 9 to 5s, but there's still time in the day somewhere. Yeah.
Cool. All right, cool. Dom, you got anything you want to wrap up with before we say goodbye for the weekend?
No, I'm pretty good here. I just hope everybody gets well, and your family there, Brody especially.
Me too.
And that's it. I was just wondering if you're going to come to see Lynch Bomb November 4th here in Toronto, but I never heard back from him. Yeah, November 4th.
Really?
Nightclub.
Oh,
the Shark said he's in.
Oh yeah. It was funny. It was funny. The Shark sent me a message that he was going to be in Arizona, and that was the night before I was going to Frozen on Ice with my daughter. And he goes, "Are you going to come?" And I go, "I'm already locked into Frozen. Frozen on Ice. I got to go to Frozen on Ice." So
Lynch Bob, they're in Arizona a lot. Lynch Bob.
They are. They're from San Diego, I think.
Oh,
but anyway, yeah, cool. Thank you for the thoughts and everything. And on a serious note, I mean, it was scary for us. I mean, Brody is part of our family. I'm looking over here at him right now, and he was just, last night he was so out of it, and he was in pain, and we called at like 2:00 in the morning. We called the emergency center again, wanted to make sure his breathing was okay, and it's just really scary. So anyone that does have four-legged friends, give them an extra hug today, and just realize, I mean, their life is so short to begin with. We have like a small section of time that we get to spend with those guys, and you don't realize it, and then when something like that happens, it really kind of hits you. So it hit us, and we're really grateful that he's going to be okay. And now it's just recovery. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll be getting a lot of rubs, a lot of back rubs and belly rubs.
That's good. Before we go, Scott, I want to ask, what's your opinion on MLM?
Do we have another 20 minutes? Oh yeah, I did a Periscope this week on that, didn't I? You know what? I think, Chris, do you have like 2 minutes? Can I go on this little bit of a rant so I can share it with Facebook? All right, here's the deal. I'm going to share a little quick story. My wife and someone here had reached out on Facebook and stuff, and we're neighbors, kind of, so. People are starting to get to know each other and stuff. And we knew that this person was in this MLM group, like an Amway or, maybe a supplement company, whatever, right? I'm not going to give out the company just because I don't want to be like that. But basically, we knew that this person was into this stuff. So I said to my wife, I go, she's going to probably try to push some stuff on you, going to try to sell you, how to, make money on doing MLM. And I said, if you want to go, go. So she invited her to lunch, and it turned into pretty much exactly what I said. And my wife came back and she's like, how do I tell her no? And this, that, and the other thing. So she tried being really civil about it and everything. And this lady just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And I said to my wife, I go, all right, you got to cut it off, right? So my thing was this. This was my rant. Do not push your products, your services on people. If you want to be friends with someone, be a real friend. Do not be a fake friend. If you're being a fake friend because you want to eventually sell them something, don't do it. Now, some would say, well, Scott, you've got a podcast. You're trying to be friends with people because eventually they're going to come back and go through an affiliate link, or they're going to buy one of your programs or whatever. That may be true, but I've got a lot of people that, like right now, I'm broadcasting you guys for free. I don't care if you guys buy something from me or not. I'm still going to show up and I still care about you, and I still want to be your virtual friend, if you will, right? But these people, once you, like my wife had a text going back and forth with her. The minute my wife said no, the text ended. There was no communication anymore. It was like kind of like, oh, you're not going to buy? Bye, I'm gone. So I was like, that's the wrong way to do it. So do not push your products on people. If you are an MLM, I'm not against it. I think there's some good programs out there, but there's a right way of doing it and a wrong way of doing it. And the basic skills of Business 101, how to influence friends and how to win friends and influence people. That's a great book. Definitely use that, but use it for good, not evil. And it just kills me that these people do this. I said to my wife, I go, I'm biting my tongue because I want to say something. The person has no idea who I am, and I'm not saying I'm anybody special, but I have a little bit more know-how in this space than they do as far as marketing goes, and she's screwing it up. So I even said to my wife, I go, maybe she'll look me up sometime and maybe she'll find this. And if she does, good, because I kind of want to say it. But anyway, it frustrates me when people try to push on this stuff, and you get people that are, you guys have been all invited to these, these parties or this, that, and the other thing. And then it's okay to do one, but then all of a sudden next month it's something new. And the next month it's something new. And the next month it's something new. Do not do that to your friends and family, please. You're going to push them away, and do not make fake friends. So that's my rant. Thank you, Dom, for reminding me that. I forgot all about that until you brought it up. And now I'm fired up for the weekend.
That's all right. You want fake news? You got fake friends. That's what you got to do. Let me do my hair here. Let me put my hair back. Okay. You think Wolf's going to take care of everything? Nobody kneel while we're doing the show, okay, guys? We want to respect the flag. Or kneel if you want to kneel. Do what you want. Don't even listen to us if you don't want. It doesn't matter. It's fake news that we're telling anyways. Fake.
What about the Canadian anthem, Dom?
It's fake. It's all fake.
It's all fake.
Your prime minister came down. I didn't pay attention to his beautiful hair. It doesn't matter.
So Scott, along that line, before we jump off, there's a line from Dan. I think it's Dan Kennedy, who said, "If you haven't offended somebody with your marketing by noon, you're not marketing hard enough." Yeah. But at the same time, it's there's a balance you have to strike there. Yes, if you have something that you're passionate about, you do need to share it with people, but you should not be foisting it on people, and you should not be only doing it because you reap a monetary benefit on the back end. If you guys are in this space and you sell, I don't know, a facial cream that you really believe in and you think it will help people, let them know about it, right? And that's why, like Scott, like we have TAS Breakthrough You and 1K Fast Track, and that's because we know it's going to help people. Right. If you guys don't want to take us up on that, that's totally cool. If you don't need that help, if you don't want that help, we're still going to be here for you. We're still going to be putting out content. We're not going to storm off, walk away, and throw a pity party for ourselves because of it. You have to let people know about the things that you're passionate about. But you also have to know how to be a human being and just say, no, you know what? It's cool. If you don't want what I have to offer, that's totally fine. I'm still here for you. I believe in you. But you have to. Oh, wait, no. That's different. But it's close enough.
That's something different. Hey, wait a minute though. So there was one other thing. Now that you just brought it up, wait a minute. I gotta say this one thing, because my wife had because we do take certain supplements ourselves, and we're happy with them. Our doctor, our blood work comes back great. Our cholesterol is good. All that stuff, right? So we're not going to add anything else. We don't need it right now, and we're good, right? But this person, after my wife gave her what we were using, said basically theirs was better, this, that, and the other thing, whatever. And then my wife's like, well, we're good. You know, thank you so much. And if we need it, we'll let you know. And she said, oh, you will need us eventually. That's what she said. Like, it's basically like saying you are going to need us because eventually your body's going to require this and you're going to be looking for us. So you are going to need us.
That's it. The power hour and a half. The power hour and a half. Oh, no, there he is. He's back.
So it's funny that my wife was saying, like, there was like they were trying to play the scarcity game, like, you know, especially with help, like that's risky, man. You don't want to do that stuff. It's just it's sneaky, it's scammy, it's sleazy, it makes you feel dirty. And again, this person, and it was funny, I talked this to someone else that knows us well here now that we've become friends with them, and they're like, man, they don't realize the friends that they just lost. I mean, you know, not to say that we're like the best people out there, but we do take care of our friends. We do like to enjoy ourselves. We like to, you know, if you need help, we're going to help. But it's like they lost that. They lost that because they went out right after the sale, like immediately. But they faked it by bringing my wife to lunch. And here was the other thing: the place that they take people for this conversation, lunch, is basically the same place they take everyone. So they immediately know the drill. The waitress didn't even come up and ask for my wife to order until after she was done with her 45-minute spiel. So it's already kind of like pre-done. Like it's already like the restaurant knows the deal. They know this lady. She comes in all the time, and it's like there was no future friend there really that she was looking to have. She was just looking at, how can I pretend to be this person's friend, get them to kind of like me, get them to like my story, and then say, I'm going to put an order in for this stuff. Do you want to get in while you still can? Because after this month, I'm not going to order again for another 30 days. And you're going to be 30 days behind, kind of thing. Just crazy.
It's a bit douchey. That's what I would say. That's my Don't worry, we'll fix her. When I come up there, we're gonna knock on her door. We'll take care of her. Well, all 10 of us will knock. I mean, we all know people that are in MLM. I mean, even close friends of close friends of ours are in it. And we support some of their products, and we're good with it. And then, I mean, even one of our good buddies, you know, there's products that I take every day, and one of our close friends, you know, he's a spokesman for this brand, and we've even approached him and said, you know who he is? He's one of your good buddies, and I said, look, I'll give you the commission. He's like, dude, I don't want it. Who cares, man? Just I'm only want to do it so you save money on your product. And I said, well, by the time it comes over here, I'll be paying the same, but I want to, you know, we take so much of it. Why don't you make the money on it? And he even said, it's not. Who cares, man? We're friends. I don't want it. So that's how you know, right? When people are into that business and they really don't bug you about it, even though they know you take the product or they could use it, they don't bug you about it. You know, and for that, I mean, those are, again, those are the real people that you want to surround yourself with, and you don't need that. And after a while, you're going to find out Nancy from 2 doors over and Steve from down the street. Yep. Oh yeah, we know about her. Yeah, stay away from her.
It's already in the community. My wife already talked to like a few people. Like, oh yeah, they're the pushers. They push that stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, and then they look at, because obviously, listen, status. You got a beautiful house. You got a couple nice cars, and like, okay, well, and then you know they kind of know that you're. Again, you know, maybe your wife then, you know, she does stuff with you guys, works on your business, but she doesn't go retail and work a 10-hour or a shift. Right. So she's just a housewife. Right. She's got nothing else to do. So maybe she can sell this stuff for us. And that's where the perception that's where it kind of started at. Right. And they just feed off that. And most people, the reason 50% of the sales like that are done because you want to get them out of your way. It's the same way when you walk to the liquor store, or in our case, or a store, and you see somebody say, would you like to give us $5 to donate to this charity? You're like, okay, here's $5, don't bug me. Or panhandlers or that stuff. And it's the same mentality. And then, you know, they want you to eventually sell so they make money on top of you.
Exactly.
Again, and then don't fall for it. Exactly. You don't need those people anyways. Who cares?
So the bottom line is here, Chris, and we'll wrap this up. Do not be a fake friend with the intentions to sell someone something just because you want to make a buck. Don't do it. Yeah. Chris, you're out of focus. You're out of focus for a second. Why don't you get back in focus for us? You're okay. There you go. You're back. You're back. You're back. Your camera was lost on your hair or something.
I'm just shiny. I don't know what the problem is. I don't remember what I was going to say now. Oh, it's called being a human being.
Yeah,
right?
it is, right.
What
A
if
good human being.
Treat other people like you would like to be treated,
Yep.
whether it's in selling MLM stuff, throwing a pamper party, whether it's in customer service for your Amazon stuff, or whether it's just in life. Be a decent person. Treat people the way that you would want to be treated. And if you want to be treated that way, then you're going to be treated that way. Right? Like that's exactly how that plays out. And so that's the lesson I would take away from that, Scott. You don't need to be a fake friend. You have plenty of people who are going to like you for the person that you are. So focus on those people.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's
your wife is
just
so your wife is so nice. She shouldn't even gone on that meeting, but I know what she thought. I'm nice. They won't be like that. And that's how they get you, right? It's like
I almost recorded a message to myself just to play it back so I could say I knew how this was going to play out. I told her that too. I go, I literally could have called that. I could have wrote that like a book.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we see it in the warehouse. And one of my showroom warehouse, I see it all. Guys are coming in with a Rubbermaid and all this stuff. As soon as they, sir, would you be? I'm not interested. And that's it right away. Right, because they're gonna try and get you. But sir, it's just even when they call you, right? It's just like telemarketing. It's exactly the same thing. I know. So irritating, especially when you know it's coming. It's not like you got. I mean, maybe it's worth when you're blindsided, but you said, Lisa, don't go. Please, no, I gotta go. I'm a nice person. I don't want to ignore. Maybe not, because Lisa wants to think the best of that girl, that lady, and that's a problem. And you said, no, don't go. No, I'm just gonna go. It'll be all right, Scott. Okay. And then that exactly. So now that's it. Any MLM and guys that sell pianos, losers, all losers.
All of them. All right, let's wrap it up. This went on a little bit longer than expected. Megan just left, said, say goodbye. Have a good weekend, Megan. We'll see you later. And everyone else that's still with us, have an awesome weekend. Stay in the taking action mode and stay true to yourself and do not be a fake friend and don't push sales on people, period. That's it, Chris. That's going to wrap it up. Have an awesome weekend. Guys, the 1K Fast Track, I will plug that one more time. If you're interested, Retail Arb is still something you can do. In the preparation of fourth quarter, 1kfasttrack.com. That's where you can find that. And hey, the podcast is there for you guys, totally free. Go check that out. Over 400 episodes now, which is crazy. And Dom, we got to get you on, and we got to do about that story that we talked about. So we'll do that coming up soon as well. Right. So Chris, that's it. That's going to wrap it up, guys. Have an awesome, amazing weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.